Long, long ago, around the year 793, the people of Scandinavia began to build long wooden boats. They were called Vikings, farmers, fishermen, and blacksmiths who sometimes became explorers. They lived in small wooden houses surrounded by cold winds and quiet mountains. In the mornings, they would wake up, feed their animals, and fix their roofs. The smell of wood smoke and dried fish filled the air. The fjords were still and gray, and the sound of the waves echoed softly. Once in a while, they set out to sea. Their longships moved slowly, cutting through the mist. Sometimes they traded wool and amber for silver or spices. Other times, they fought. But most of their days were simple. They told long stories in the evenings about gods like Odin, Thor, and Freya. But even those stories were told quietly, by the fire, under the endless northern sky. They carved wooden runes, made simple tools, and waited for spring. Time passed. The Viking age slowly faded, and the ships stopped sailing so far. The people settled down, built farms, and began to live ordinary lives again. And that's how the age of thunder and axes ended. Not with a battle, but with calm, slow days of farming, fishing, and the sound of the wind across the fjords. The day was ending over the cold northern sea. Golden light spread across the fjord, touching the longships that rested quietly by the shore. The warriors had not yet sailed. They waited, calm and still, as if listening to the heartbeat of the world itself. In the village behind them, smoke rose slowly from wooden huts. Children played near the fields, their laughter soft against the whisper of the wind. Old men sat near the fire, their faces marked with years of storms and stories. And in the quiet between the waves, there was peace. Among them stood Eric, the youngest of the sailors. His hands were steady, his eyes calm. He had trained for years to join the voyages, not for gold, not for glory, but to see what lay beyond the horizon. But that night, something inside him wished to stay. He looked at the water, so still it mirrored the sky, and thought of his home. The scent of pine, the sound of the sea against the stones, the warmth of his mother's voice. For the first time, he wondered if adventure was worth leaving peace behind. The old chieftain, seeing Eric's hesitation, placed a hand on his shoulder and said softly, "The bravest men are not the ones who fight, but the ones who know when to rest." The words stayed with him. As the last light of the sun faded into the mist, Eric decided not to sail that night. He stayed behind, by the quiet shore, watching the ships fade into the fog. Years later, he would build his own home by that same fjord. And every evening, when the sun touched the water in gold, he would tell his children stories of the sea. Not of war or fear, but of peace, silence, and the beauty of waiting for dawn.